the rest of the community also. Really good. I'm Phil Fleischman, your host, and today's special guest is Warren Miller, and today is a green episode. I wish the news was green, but we're going to talk about some green stuff. It's really neat, really interesting things. You really want to pay attention to the end of the show. Just going to blow your socks off. Right, Warren?
You got it.
But first, let's start with the news. I finally got a chance to read the mid-year report from the National Tax Advocate. And I'm sorry that it took so long to read it, but really there's some really interesting things in there that I want to pass on to you. The first thing is you need to know who the taxpayer advocate is. The taxpayer advocate is the individual who's in charge of the taxpayer advocate services. Now, they're a great service, and what they do is they're a portion of the Internal Revenue Service, but they're not responsible to the IRS. What they do is they help you, the people out there who have problems with the IRS, and you've tried everything you can, and before you bang your head against the wall and hurt yourself, you call these people. Well, these people have worked with the Internal Revenue Service for a long time, and they know all the ins and the outs. They know what's right, they know what's wrong, and they're there to help you clear up your tax issues. Well, this is the person that runs that division, and at the middle of the year, she gave a report to Congress. Now, in the report, she outlined two issues of priority. The first thing was the significant process the Internal Revenue Service has made with licensing the people who prepare your taxes. Now, it's been an issue for a while that the people who are preparing taxes are unlicensed, untrained, they don't know what they're doing. Your tax preparers should be licensed. They have to abide by certain ethical standards, professional standards. They have to have continuing education. They have to be up to date. That's the first thing. Now, the Internal Revenue Service collects more than 90% of the total revenues for the federal government. So, the role is very important. However, when they say that this 0.2% reduction in their budget is going to affect their ability to collect taxes and properly communicate with the taxpayers, I don't know if I entirely am in agreement with that. I would encourage them to try to do more with less, just like everybody else. Now, our taxpayer advocate did recommend one or two things, and I'm just going to throw these things out there because she has suggested that the IRS be immune from any tax cuts or budget ceilings. Well, I don't really believe that's the case. I think that they have to work within their budgetary constraints. The last thing that Nina had mentioned was she was concerned about some of the IRS collection practices. And really she was talking about the issuance of levies and garnishments, really on those people who can't afford it, those people who are struggling, those people who are unemployed. These levies and garnishments, they go onto their credit report, they go in the permanent file. It makes it more difficult for the person to go and to get that job when they look at the credit report. So there was some concern there. At the outset of this little conversation regarding the Taxpayer Advocate Service, I told you that I really do like their service, and they really do a very vital service for the taxpayers out there. So I pulled, just as a final comment on this, what it is a Taxpayer Advocate Service really pushes. What is their motivation? What are they trying to do? And it's four things. The first thing is a more simplified tax code. Well, I'm all for that. I got to tell you. They're all for improvements to the earned income credit. Now, not everybody's going to get their earned income credit, but this is a refundable credit. And this is a refundable credit that you get regardless of what taxes you owe if you have a household and you have children and you're not making quite enough to survive. It's extra money for you. I'm all for that. They're all about protecting your personal information at the IRS. And finally, they want to see improvements to the innocent spouse relief. And for those of you who have gone through that, I believe that everybody will agree that it is a good idea to improve innocent spouse relief. The innocent spouse relief is really intended for anybody whose wife or husband made a mistake and now owes the IRS a lot of money. They're in a lot of trouble. And they had just no knowledge of what was going on. Innocent spouse relief will protect the spouse from any tax problems. Well, listen, that's it for the top part of the show today. When we come back, we're going to talk with Warren Miller. Now, Warren is chock full of really interesting green things that are going on. All green related. Energy production, energy retention. We're going to talk about how you can produce energy for less money and not have a footprint in the ecology. We'll see you in just a minute. PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep is open 7 days a week. Ensure you get prompt, personalized, and professional service. Call 224-6875. 224-6875. Hi, I'm Phil Fleischman, owner of PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep, your affordable accounting alternative. Mention this ad and save 20% off last year's tax prep fees. Call us 224-6875. 224-6875. Well, welcome back to the show. With me today is Warren Miller. And as you can see, we're sitting here in front of two electric cars, and what better to start the program out with? Here is something green. Now, Warren here has some absolutely wonderful info stuck in his head. Now, we're going to try to pull out a little bit. Now, there's not much tax-related information here, I got to tell you, Warren.
Well, tax is my brain, holding on to it all.
There you go. There you go. Warren was telling me before we began about this new process to generate electricity from the ocean, of all places. What was that again, Warren? It had to do with?
It's a process actually that was first described by Jules Verne in one of his novels.
Now, wait, isn't Jules Verne a fiction writer?
Yes, he is. He's a fiction writer. But look how much technology's come out of Star Trek. Wait, beam me up, Scotty. There's no intelligent life on Earth. But in the process, a lot of people have tried. In the 1930s, France spent a lot of money in Cuba trying to get this to work, and it's been one of those pipe dreams of scientists to be able to take advantage of the temperature differential of the surface temperature of the ocean. Runs at about 80 degrees through the tropics.
Right.
And then if you've got an island that's somewhere near the shelf that drops quickly, then you can get water temperatures that are like 40 degrees less than that real quickly.
Right.
That you can now use that differential to generate electricity.
Okay.
One of the big problems that they had starting in the 1930s up through the 1970s, they tried it again, is they weren't able to get enough pressure from that differential to turn those big turbines that turn the big generators to get commercial use of it. We're in the process of acquiring a company out of New Jersey with a very interesting technology that uses hydrogen which is the most plentiful,
Right.
element on our planet, and use hydrogen and these patented metal hydrides that we have that hold hydrogen and release them at specific times.
What is a metal hydride?
It's an alloy of metal that actually absorbs hydrogen into it. So you get this stable compound where the hydrogen is now incorporated into the alloy. It has the ability to take hundreds of times its weight in hydrogen and hold it.
Right.
It will hold more hydrogen than now the way they ship hydrogen around is as a liquid in those big, huge tanks, more dense inside this metal, and it's stable. Now, it's stable, and it's in compound inside the hydrogen inside this alloy. And then when we apply heat, it releases. And as it releases, it causes pressure.
Right.
Now we take that pressure and apply that against, for example, like a piston. So it's very simple to see how you can do rudimentary work using these. Now, if you've got two of these, and the second one, you apply pressure, and you apply cooling to this, that's why you need the cool water coming from the bottom
Right.
to cool this down, and now you're applying pressure at the same time over here, you've got this piston going back and forth, generating pressure. Because we can, using this technology, generate significantly more pressure
Right.
than they were able to using any other types of processes. Now we can realistically put in fact, we have going into Hawaii a prototype running with a 10 megawatt generator. But then after that, we go off and start doing these 100 megawatt generators, which is what's required to do a large city.
Right.
So all of the islands in the tropics will be able to use this technology using the sun heating up the ocean water
Right.
and the cool layer down below.
Unbelievable.
Next step, every town has a factory
Right.
that's generating all kinds of heat to do what factories do, make money. Getting rid of that heat is usually a problem for them. We'll take advantage of that heat and then provide that heat that we talked about, and then use air, just the ambient air, as the cooling. So
Right.
you've got hot and cold with the same process. So with a metal factory, or you've got the paper plant up the street here, with the excess heat, we can then generate electricity with zero impact on the environment.
That is just neat stuff.
It's magic. No.
I mean,
No. And
that is it's just remarkable. You think back, and I asked somebody a couple days ago, when do you think the first electric car was built? I heard 1970 or 1980, 1990. 1898.
Yep.
1898 was when the first electric car was manufactured.
And the most successful was Detroit Electric. And they had an option. It went 30 miles before it needed a charge, which is what these go now. So we've gone nowhere in 100 years.
All right.
And for a fee, you could buy the upgraded batteries from Thomas Edison. And Edison's batteries would go 60 miles.
Warren, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It's just great to see you. So listen, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. This is Phil. PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep is open 7 days a week to ensure you get prompt, personalized, and professional service. Call 224-6875. Hi, I'm Phil Fleischman, owner of PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep, your affordable accounting alternative. Mention this ad and save 20% off last year's tax prep fees. Call us 224-6875.
Today, we're going to wrap up our series with authors, and you happen to be an author.
Yes.
So we are finishing our series of authors with you.
Wow.
Okay? And your book is called, the book that you just published, The Inspirational Corner.
Yes.
But this is not her first book, so we're very even more privileged. You have already published, and I have to look at my notes here, The Soul Seeker,
Yes.
The Princess Within, The Soul of a Woman,
Yes.
The Writer's Block, and All About Him.
Yes.
All of these books are available to you right now on Amazon.com,
Yep.
on Kindle,
Yes.
and then on your website also.
Exactly. On my website.
On
yes.
your site. And when we get closer to the end of the show, we're going to flash that information up there for you.
Okay.
But let's talk about who you are. You're from Detroit originally.
Yeah, I'm from Detroit, Michigan originally.
Okay. But you live here in Charleston.
Yes, I do.
We're very fortunate that your last duty station was here and
Yes.
you stayed here.
Yes, thus far.
I cannot tell you how many times I hear that very story.
Wow.
So what we have, and let's just talk about the latest book.
Okay.
It's self-published.
Yes, it's self-published.
The Inspiration Corner, inspiring you through the chronicles of my life.
Yes.
This is an autobiography of sorts?
No, it's not an autobiography. A lot of people thought it was an autobiography, but no, it's like little lessons that I have learned. And those stories, which I have a blog called The Inspirational Corner, those stories came from just me being transparent in the transition that I was going through in my life, especially after losing my daughter and, you know, just dealing with so much emotion in the last couple of years since she's been gone, in the last 6 years, but in the last 2 years, I call it my authentic journey. And a lot of things that I transitioned through, you know, I realized some things were not a part of who I was. I was trying to be what other people wanted me to be, and it was like peeling off the layers of who I was not to get to know who I really was by spending that time with myself.
Your life inspiration, you're trying to convey that to the people so they can learn from what has happened to you.
Yes, yes.
So, although I really didn't want to really dwell on the death of your daughter, and I'm sure it was a very traumatic thing. Let me see if I have this right. Her name was Serenity.
Yeah, her name was Serenity.
Beautiful name.
Thank you.
Would you like to tell the people a little bit more about what happened?
Yes. February 20th, 2007, I was on a 24-hour duty, got off my 24-hour duty. My friend already had dropped my children off at the daycare, and they dropped her off, and I had got a call that something was wrong, and I went to Trident Hospital, and after that, it's like everything went black, because a chaplain had let me know that Serenity had passed away. Of course, they couldn't tell me that at the Naval Weapons Station because I've been hysterical driving. So after that, it's like everything in my life just shut down, you know. But the beauty about everything that I've been through, it's been a transition, but the beauty about everything that I've been through is like my books started to flow out of me. I've always been a writer. I've been writing since I was 8 years old. So it's just through that, it's like through the pain I've been writing, and things just been flowing out of me.
Well, I'm very happy that you found an outlet to help you with that. And I hope that some of what you have read will help other people through some of their pain.
Yes.
Now, I'm actually going to stop for just a sec, okay? Stylicia, do me a favor and tell the people out there some more about this book. And I already know that you've started a new book.
Yes. Yes.
A little birdie told me the title to it.
Okay.
The name and title is Beauty After the Pain.
Yes.
So I see a little commonality in all your works.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about the Inspirational Corner?
Okay.
Now, it's from the blog.
Yeah, it's from my blog called The Inspirational Corner. And, with a blog, you're really transparent, especially as a writer. Every writer needs a blog. And you get to express yourself through written form on your blog. And for me, I use it to inspire women to stop hiding. I always say I was an ex-people pleaser.
Right.
So I used to always do everything for everybody else and live my life according to what other people thought was best for me. And through my blog, it helped me to help other women to just be who God created you to be. Do not be ashamed of who you are. Like I said before, women, we wear so many different hats, mother, daughter, and sometimes we neglect ourselves. So in my blog, I have different things that I've written about. Monthly, twice a month, I write on my blog, and whatever transition that I'm going through during that time, I talk about on my blog. And so with the Inspirational Corner, I realized when I got the idea for this book, I was like, I already written my book. I don't have to start from scratch. Everything that I poured out on my blog is a book. And that's why with this book, it's not like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It's like little lessons, a quick read, little lessons that people can go through and say, wow, if you're at home mother and you're, haven't pampered yourself in a while. I went through a stage where I realized like I'm doing everything for everybody else. What about myself? So that's what the Inspirational Corner is about. Me taking bits and pieces of what I put on my blog and put it in my book. Different titles to inspire women. I also have something called the Resignation Letter to Fear. We all deal with fear, and my thing was not allowing fear to hold me back anymore. I need to live an abundant life. So I really wanted to live out loud and live the life that God created for me to live. So that was the main thing with that one, for example.
All right. Although you can never be released of the pain of losing a parent, child, sibling, I think that you learn on how to deal with that pain and to bring something good from the experience.
Yes.
Is that where you're at, or have you been able to release the pain entirely?
Well, I believe through my writing, it has helped me heal, and I just think right now where I'm at, me totally releasing the pain, and like you said, you're never gonna say I'm over over losing a loved one, especially after losing my child. I can never truly say I'm over it, but if I can empower other people and just inspire other people that in spite of your pain, let it go. I know it's me and my daughter's will to live an abundant life, and that's what my 2-year-old would have wanted,
Right.
So I believe right now I'm in a place of peace and healing. That's where I'm at right now.
Well, I truly hope that you're listening to this and that you're being inspired, that you take a look at these books. They're available on Amazon and Kindle.
Amazon and
Kindle.
Kindle.
Your website, and we're going to flash that up in just a few minutes. But it's such a deep issue.
Yes, it is.
That I think it's time in this episode to lighten up, bring a little levity to the episode. Can people see you around town? Are you going to be signing books? Are you...
Well, right now my business is going through a reinvention. So right now I could say I'm in a phase where I'm just kind of shutting down and just writing. I'm just in the phase of just writing right now. Yes, and traveling. I love to travel. I love to travel.
All right. So what do you do in the summertime? Where do you go and hang out?
In the summertime, I usually go back home to Michigan and to Virginia, to Florida.
Man.
Yeah, I love to travel.
I wish I could travel like that. All right. Well, listen, let's do this. I have your book here, The Inspirational Corner. And I'm going to get you to sign this.
Okay.
Now, if you think you know where Stylicia got her name, I want you to email me. And if you're the first person who's right, we're going to send you this book. If no one guesses, and there's a very high probability that nobody will guess, okay? But trust me, it's a real thing. Then we're going to auction this off, probably on eBay, for the Just Phil Educational Television Foundation to help fund the television program, to help fund the free tax seminars later in the year
Okay.
for those in lower income areas, to help fund free IRS representation for the lower income people who have problems with the Internal Revenue Service,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
And after that, to help fund scholarships for children going to college,
I think that's awesome.
okay? So either somebody's gonna get a free book, or we're gonna auction it off, okay?
Okay.
So if I could get you to sign this for us, I got a pen right here. And while she's doing that, we're gonna flash on the screen all of Stylicia's information. Do you have a website?
Yes.
What is that website?
It's Stylicia, my first name, Bowden.com.
Stilicia Bowden.com.
Yes.
And do you have an email address for everybody?
My email address is info@styliciabowden.com.
All right. And look for your books
Yes.
on your website,
On my website,
on Amazon.com,
on Amazon, yes.
and Kindle.
And Kindle.
All right. Well, it's been a real pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Well-
having me.
We're real sorry about your loss,
Thank you.
but we are very privileged from what has come from it.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful week. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you again next week, the same time. And thank you, Stylicia, again for being the last of our authors series.
Thank you for having me.
We look forward to following up with Stylicia. We're going to follow up with you
Okay.
later on the year or next year and find out how everything is going with you. Listen,
Okay.
everybody, have a great day. Have a great week. I'll see you again next week. Thanks so much for watching.
This program is produced in conjunction with Just Phil Educational Television Foundation. For more information on this episode, events, and seminars, or to make a donation, please visit us at www.jpetf.org or call 843-224-6875.